Hi, I'm Khalila McCoy, and this is the show where we grow together. This is Where We Rise. Hey there, friend. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I'm so excited that you're here because this week is extra special because I am celebrating my birthday. Yes, it's true. On July 14th, Khalila McCoy officially turned 40 years old. 40, yes. I have joined the ranks of all the friends I have lovingly teased who have crossed this milestone before me. But honestly, I am grateful. I'm thankful to have made it this far, and I've loved celebrating with family and friends and have enjoyed a little bit of much needed me time as well. So I can't complain. It's been a great week so far. Since it's my birth week, and since I'm officially 40 now, I thought it would be fun to switch things up and for me to speak to you in this episode. I want to share a little bit more about who I am by walking you through some things that I've learned in my 4 decades of living. And because DJ is wonderful and supportive, he agreed to join me for this conversation. He didn't know what I was going to share ahead of time, which made this even more fun. So let's get right into it and we'll talk more afterwards. How are you, babe?
I'm doing well. Yeah. What's up, everybody?
All right. So today is my 40th birthday episode, and you so graciously are helping me with it. I am sharing, okay, so I'm supposed to be sharing 40 things that I've learned in life now that I'm 40. But 40 was a lot. It was really hard to come up with 40 things that I felt like I wanted to say and really share and impart. And I'm sure if I like got to the nitty gritty, right, there could be 40 things that I could share, but it might not resonate with people. You know what I mean? Like it would just be random silly things. So then I knocked it down way down to 10. So like my top 10 things. And then I was working on that, and that was hard too. So I've knocked it down to 7.
Okay. I mean,
So
I was expecting 10, but it's all good. And this your realm. You lead, I follow. I got you. Seven.
so
Seven's a good number. Seven's a good number.
yeah, so 7 things that I've learned in my 40 years of life. And I kind of switched it because I didn't really necessarily want this episode to be me giving advice to people because I think people are in different stages of their life, going through different things. And I wanted it to be more kind of like story driven. So it's just things that I've learned about myself that help me grow. And then hopefully there'll be something somebody can take from it, something that they can relate to, things like that. So that's where we're going to be going with this direction. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. I'm almost sure this is gonna be nothing but positivity. I mean, the
You're
show's been
almost sure.
amazing.
You're
Yeah,
almost sure.
yeah. Well, I feel you in the sense. I'll be in the media space, and it get different when you give your opinions versus just trying to just say what you learned. I like how you just sound like this. This is what I've learned. Here goes 7 things that I've learned, and
Yeah.
so
And obviously, I've learned more than 7 things in 40 years, but
I would
these
agree.
are
I
probably
would
the
agree.
things that ground me the most. I'd say that.
Okay,
Okay. So, are you ready? My
I
7
believe
things
so.
for 40 years.
And then
So
are we
my
going in order or from least to greatest, or are we just saying 7 things?
so I'm just saying 7 things. My
Okay,
first one is definitely my number one thing, and then the
okay, I
rest
like that.
kind of just I feel like they float. I hope they kind of flow into each other in a sense. But my first one is number one, and number one is God first. So
Okay,
my listeners know that I am a Christian. I do believe in God and Jesus, and that has been a very big influence in my life. I grew up in the church. My dad was a pastor. Um, I went to church, like church Girl Scouts. It's called missionettes when I was
okay,
younger. So I spent a lot of time in the church, a lot of time with God. And then, I was in college and stuff like that. And I still definitely believed in God, but I didn't spend as much time with him for a while. So I think I did have that reconnection and I don't want to say I don't want to say recommitting my life because I don't feel like I was not committed, but just that new understanding as an adult, learning about God and religion on my own terms, you know what I mean, as an adult versus just growing up in it as a
I get it.
child. So, um, I've had a lot of really good things honestly happen in my life and a lot of different trials and things that I went through that I feel like God was there with me and leading me along the way. So one of my biggest things is for the longest time, like if you asked me what my favorite Bible verse was, right? I would say the Jeremiah 29:11, and that reads, For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord,
Hmm.
plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future. And there's so much that can go into that verse, and we can dive
Yeah.
into that at another time. But just that part that I took from it, and that a lot of people talk about, is just God has good plans for you, right? And your
Amen.
steps are ordered and things like that. So I really feel like the things that I've been through in my life and the experiences that I have, God has really ordered things for me and has planned stuff for me. And I do believe that I have walked within his will for me. So I really like that verse. And it just reminds me, like, even if things aren't going well, things will work out for good. God is in control, things like that. So that was my favorite verse. But I think, like, there's a lot of good things that are obviously in the Bible and a lot of good verses. So I think that was a good one for a season, I guess.
Okay.
Um, I still like it, but I think for this season in my life, I have a new Bible verse.
That's good, man. That's very interesting.
Do you want to hear my new verse?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
So my new verse is actually John 16:33.
Okay.
And Jesus is telling his disciples all about what's coming and the challenges that they will face too. And he says, I've told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. So it's a very different verse
Different
than the,
tone, different
yes.
vibe, different, and that makes sense. Being somebody who gets to observe you up close and personal, Kalila has shifted. I'm sorry, world. I feel like I might be part of that, but
it
Kay
does
has
it does seem very
gotten.
negative, right?
No, I don't think it's negative. I don't look at. I don't look at confrontation as negative. It's just some of these things we got to go through, and the Lord He will hope we'll be willing to go through it. But a lot of us avoid things. But like you more, you pulling your sleeves up, and you realize that like life is tough and bad things happen. So like, how am I gonna move? And I like your approach with doing what you feel God calls you to do, and then just rolling up your sleeves and doing what you can in terms of that war that we in. It's not we don't fight. God say we don't fight like how people fight. We fight in a different way, and really, a lot of people may not know that. You roll up your sleeves and you do your thing about like how God tell us to fight. You do that. So, but that is definitely more of your approach now. Like it's gonna be hardships. Can't be kind of whining about it. It sucked, but I gotta do what I gotta do. It's been fun to watch though. I like it.
Yeah, I do feel like as I've gotten older, different things have happened in the world. You see different things, you process things differently. And even in this podcast, right? Some people have shared some really interesting or tough things in their life. And especially the ones who say that they're Christians and believe in God. I always ask, like, how do you continue to have your faith in such a hard time? And I think that's such a real question. I think some people feel like, oh, if you are a Christian, you can't question God or you can't question, what's going on with you or, you know, sometimes Christians like to act like they're perfect or nothing goes wrong, but Jesus literally says, you're going to have trouble. Things are going to be bad, but not to
Hmm.
stress and worry. And I think even for me, sometimes I do question, like when you look at the world, you're like, where are you, God? Like, why is this happening? What is going on? And then again, it's that back to that first verse. Well, if we know he has good plans and he will prosper us, you have to believe through those hard times too. So, um, I think that's kind of just where I am now. And, I'm continuing to grow my faith and learn different things about God and things like that. But I do feel like everything in my life, and that's why I said this is the number one because it always goes back to my faith in God and just knowing that I can trust Him, and I'm not even gonna pretend that I understand all the things and, all the things that are in the Bible, all the things that are happening
I
in the
try.
world. I
I
don't
try.
get it, most of it, but, I choose to believe, so there we go, number 1, God first.
Hey, way to pop the segment off. I think those were some great ideas and views, and like I said, just from being able to observe you, um, we've been at this a while. I
You've been
met you a
observing
little.
me?
Yeah, I've been observing you.
Elaborate.
We met a while ago, and you're not the same 21-year-old
Okay,
girl.
so, I think you'll like the second one then, Mister I've been observing you and you've changed.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, number 2 is my job is not who I am.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
So for my listeners, you guys know I am a school teacher, and especially as a classroom teacher, right? I taught 4th grade. Well, I taught kindergarten first, then 4th grade. I think I was in the classroom for like, I don't know, 12 years, something like that.
And
And
she crushed it. She did well.
I think I
Amazing.
did do well. I loved being a teacher. I loved the kids. I loved the families. It was really great. I would definitely take any of that back, but I was definitely really proud of the fact that I was a teacher.
Oh, I
Um,
know.
I felt like, be quiet. I felt like it was definitely part of my identity, right? Like I was a
Hmm.
teacher, like I teach, that's what I do, that's who I am, type of thing. And I spent a lot of hours and poured a lot of time into it. And if you listen to the marriage roundtable, you heard Amy talk about how she spent a lot of time teaching in her classroom and didn't really feel like she was able to spend as much time with her kids and her family. And I think that's something that all teachers, at least, the ones that I see, and hear talk about their career go through because there's so much, and even now, I feel like more than ever is demanded of teachers and expectations of what we do and what we provide for those kids in our classroom. So I enjoyed it. I was young, so I didn't have anything else really
And you
going on. So
crushed
I
it.
think
And you
that
crushed it.
that's part of it too. But I spent a lot of time just focused on the job and pouring all of me really into those kids. I guess I think there was blessings in that. I think I made some really good connections with some families. I think I really helped some kids. But I think I got to a point where I don't want to say I was burnt out, but I did get to a point where I didn't want to be in the classroom anymore. And it was really hard for me because it's like, well, this is who I am. This is what I do. How can I be feeling like this? Why am I feeling like this? Why am I going through that? And so I had to really step back and think about, at work they're always like, "What is your why? Why are you here?" And it's always so annoying when they ask you that. They're like, "Remember your why." You have teachers like joking like, "Because I have to pay my bills." But,
Yeah,
it's
be a
always
big
like,
why. That's
"We're
a
here
big
for
why.
kids. We're here for what's best for kids." And that's true too. But I like to be reflective. So my why was I really like to help people. For me, it was helping the kids to see what they truly could do, right? I was the math teacher and most
Mhm.
kids don't like math or they're not good at it. So they feel like they can't. So I really enjoyed like helping them come to the realization that I don't have to love this, but I can actually do this and be good at it. And that's when I realized, like, that's what I wanna do. Like, I wanna help people see, all the possibilities and then make the best choice for themselves and to succeed and be joyful for them and joyful in themselves that they've succeeded. So I think redefining why I love teaching really helped me as a teacher. It helped me, like, kind of be better in the classroom, and then it also helped me like, I was a fitness coach at the time too, and it was the same thing. I loved helping the adults that I was working with reach
Mhm.
a goal or work harder or push themselves past what they thought they could do, and I also loved doing that for myself as well when I was in fitness. So, I think I thought I was like, "Oh, I'm just a teacher. This is what I do. I teach," but it was actually that help and that connection with others. So realizing that kind of helped me realize, okay, what do I want to do next? So now I'm still in education because I still love working with kids. I still love that teaching part of it, but now I get to help with adults, right? So it's like a bigger scale because I help teachers find their joy or their passion or their resource sources that they need to do their thing, which then in turn helps the kids. And then I help those struggling kiddos or those kiddos who are, above and beyond and need a little bit extra. So I do a lot of helping, which I think it's
Yeah,
part of who I am. And um, so yeah, so my job, that was my number two. My job is not who I am.
I like that. I like that. And it's not, but it is something that, you should do. You should approach with a very seriousness, a vigor, even like a competitive type edge. Like try to be the best. Try to be the best at what you're doing and take advantage of those times. And I think you'll be rewarded for it and your approach and how you did it. I saw it up close and personal how serious it took it. But I love it. I enjoy it. I never get mad. And I also, and this is just a warning to some of the younger people coming into it. Like I know that although my wife loved me and we met when we did, her first love was teaching. Like this is a genuine affection for this skill type, for this help that they trying to do. It's a specialized type thing. And you gotta let that go. Like you gotta let our, I think we do better when we, encourage and get behind our women that are doing great things. And these tasks are very, very hard. Like I can liken a teacher to being like a football player. Like, football is a microcosm of life, but like these teachers go through tons of specialized knowledge for like just a section, K through third through seventh grade, just literature, just history, like these very specialized sections and there's competition in that, so they can get these few selected teacher jobs that don't pay, but that pay what they pay.
Mhm.
I'm not going to diss it because, I'm a pro teacher person, but it's been just as fun watching you attack the new systems that come in. Now we got a new program. Watching you go through and dissect, go through, tap every button to see what everything do in this new program that they making us switch over that you don't agree with, but you want to be the best you can for your students because your students. Oh, this one software on page 4, however you do it. Only I done seen you do it, but I don't know what you're doing. But I understand this is what teachers do, and we appreciate y'all a lot. And it's been fun watching you do it and supporting you do it the whole time. Even the master's classes and when you got to fit those things in, the
So many
continued
classes.
education. I ain't trying to bring up trauma, but I'm just I understand the teacher woman grind, but I understand at least this dynamic of marriage between educator and husbands and stuff because y'all care about all them kids a lot.
Yes. Yeah, it's like a little family when you're in the classroom. But yeah, so that was my number two. My number three that I've learned about myself is kind of related to education in the sense, but it's that I am a lifelong learner and I enjoy trying new things.
Oh, you gonna tell me about it? You gonna tell me about it? Yeah, I
Yes.
think I agree. I mean,
Yeah. So, we always talk about at school, like teaching kids to be lifelong learners and things like that. And I do like learning new things. And I would say certain things I learn about, like I find out about a situation or something, or I find out about a thing, and then I decide to dig deeper into it.
mhm.
And it could be like internet searches and Googling stuff and looking at articles, or it could be then reading books about it and going deeper into things. So I like doing that. And
So you
then,
nosy,
no, I
I
want to know
would
more
say.
about that topic so I can be smarter in that area. Um, and then there's a lot of stuff I don't know about and I don't care to know about, which is very true, which is something I'm working on because I was like, maybe I should pay more attention to these things like X, Y, and Z. So that is something that I have to consider. But um, I do like get into those, what do they call it? Like go down the rabbit hole of learning
Mhm.
different things and having that knowledge. And I like to share it with people. And as you know, DJ, when I learn something new, I always like, oh, let me tell you about this. And you
Yes, you will.
pretend to listen. So thank you.
I hear it all. I hear it all. I get about about 7 to 12 fun facts a week,
It's so
little
interesting. I know, I love I just got a book from, actually my grandma's house when she passed, when I was
some
going through
peace,
her stuff. She
grandma.
has a book called, a book of I forget, like, unimportant facts or, like, things like that. So I'm excited to go through that and share that with Miles, actually. But I love learning new things and I love trying new things. So, um, whether it's just like trying a new food, trying a new restaurant, trying a new activity, things like that. Now, this is separate from learning, right? Because I feel like trying new things, it's like, okay, I did it once. I'm good. I'm done. Like, I'm okay with something like that. But I feel like at least I've tried it. At least I've had that experience. I'm all about obviously as long as it's safe and healthy, um, having an experience, like trying something different. So, we want to go axe throwing? Sure. Why not? Let's try that. Not really into golf, but people want to go top golf. Let's go to top golf, things like that.
Mhm.
When I was a fitness instructor, one of my goals actually was, I don't know if you know this, babe, but one of my goals was to try like every different type of workout there was. And I just
I'm
wanted
not
to
surprised. That sound about right
yeah, so
according to
I
your
was already
schedule.
teaching spinning and boot camp classes, so I wanted to try different things that also, like, challenged my body in different ways, so I did, like, CrossFit, I did rowing, I did, what did I do? Like, kickboxing, things
Like
like that,
boot
just
camp,
well, I already
crazy
taught
stuff.
yeah, I taught the
Desert
boot
Storm.
camp, but yeah, I would try different I did bar, which was really hard, and so, like, sometimes it's truly just purely to challenge myself and to see what I can do, what I'm capable of, and, I might like it and continue it. Most of the things I just named, like, I did one time, and then that was it, but I was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I did it, I experienced it, I tried it, and, you know, I can take that back to what I do on the regular and have that help me grow in in my regular life as well. So, trying new things and then learning things along the way, I think is really important. And I think sometimes as we get older or just life gets busy, you get in a rut and you just get comfortable doing what you've always done. And I'm not against being comfortable at times, but I think that it's important to step outside of that and try a thing and do something that you wouldn't typically do. Like I said, because it's not always just about that thing. Like I said, it can show you something about yourself. It could show you about your resilience. It could show you about your ability to connect with others. Whatever it is, you don't know, right? Until you try that thing. So yeah, that's my number three, lifelong learner and trying new things.
Okay, we all about the halftime. What else we got? What else we got coming up?
Okay, so my number four is life lessons can come from unexpected places. And I think we all know that, right? We learn things when we least expect it. My biggest thing for me was I've had the privilege of traveling to different countries and different things
Hmm.
like that, especially at a younger age. And then into my early 20s, I traveled as well with some friends to different countries. And the my biggest lesson, my favorite experience was when I was a junior in high school. I went to a private school and they had this thing called winterim. And so it's like
Hmm.
for a month, we didn't have like regular classes. We would dive deep into a specific study. So I took Spanish. So my parents let me go to Mexico and we did a service trip and we stayed in this city called Querétaro, and we went to this place called El Puente de Esperanza. Called the Bridge of
Hmm.
Hope. And it was a place where women and their children could come. The women and the children would stay there. The children would go to school, and the moms would stay and learn a trade that they could then take back to their city and use
Okay.
it to, make money for their family and stuff like that. So we were there and we would like take care of the kids and help around and stuff. I really don't remember what we did. We were there for 3 weeks. I don't remember what we did. I
Mhm.
just remember playing with the kids. So I'm sure we did other stuff.
Just
And
babysitting.
yeah, we
Hey,
played with the
that's
kids. I
huge.
remember
We
walking
know
them
how
to
big
school. I
babysitting.
remember exploring the town. Um, I'm sure we did other things, but that was what was important to me at the time. But the biggest impact was at the end of that 3 weeks that we were there. It was actually the end of one of the cycles. So the women invited us back to their town. They were from a town called San Ildefonso. and they wanted us to come and see them at the market, and they're selling their wares and just see their houses and stuff. And when we went, it was like a desert, like the area, and like it was bare. There was like,
Mm,
I don't know, it looked like, when you watch the movies and it's like that
yeah.
weird town in Mexico where,
Tumbleweeds.
like, yeah, people come out and like the Western, I
Like
don't know.
Rango. Rango,
Yes.
let's run.
Yeah, like, it was it was not what I thought. It'd be more of a town, but it was like, and then like shacks. And I just remember one of the little boys, Juan, he showed us his house and he was so excited. He was so proud to show us this like tiny shack that they didn't have a bathroom in the house. The bathroom was outside. It was like a hole in the ground, like this wood covering that looked like it would fall over in the wind. Their house was tiny. There was wild dogs running around and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And, as an American in a middle class family, like this was definitely like, me looking at, I'm like, oh, this is sad. This is like you're so poor type of situation. But like he was so proud of what he had, right? And he
Yeah.
was so excited to share it. And then I remember going to the market and the women were so excited to see us and they were giving us their things for free. Like I still have a little blanket type shawl thing. It's in our living room. And they gave it to us for free. And I remember thinking like, you're supposed to be using this for money so you can, have money and things like that. And they're like, oh no, we want you to have this. We're so happy you're here. Thank you for coming. And, they wanted to give us food. They wanted to give us jewelry. They wanted to give us clothes. And I just was, that was my first experience seeing poverty, I think.
Mhm.
Well, seeing poverty. And then, but they were so willing to give and to share. And I had been around a lot of people who had money, a lot of affluent people who never once offered anything or, who never were like, "Oh yeah, what's mine is yours. Like let's share this together. Let's give. Let's do this." So it was just interesting that one of my parents are very giving and caring, so I had them as role models, but I think one of my big first experience of somebody really showing true hospitality and care came from people who, didn't have much to give, but they were excited to do it and
Yeah.
excited to share.
Likewise. Likewise.
And like I said, I was a junior in high school, and that moment has stayed with me. And it's been a part of kind of how I see the world, I guess. It reminds me not to judge people based off
Mhm.
of their circumstances or where they live or, race, religion, whatever. And it also reminds me that when I have something, if I come across somebody who needs it, or if I'm just want to be nice, because I didn't need any of the things that they gave me that day.
Correct.
They just wanted to show kindness and love. So that has been a big part of my life of remembering, just like always show kindness and love, always give without expecting something in return. And
Mm.
like I said, you don't know anybody's situation. And no matter your situation, you can always show love and be joyful. So, like I said, life lessons can come when you least expect it. Because I wasn't expecting to go there and have this memory that would last my whole entire life. I just, was going on this journey with some friends from high school and was gonna go see their town, but it ended up impacting me way more than I ever thought it would. So, I think and that's a moment too, right, that I could have easily passed on and not let that stay with me. It could have just been like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, cool. Like, this lady gave me a blanket," like, whatever. But the fact that I allowed myself to kinda slow down and see more into it, I think was really important and cool. And I'm sure there's moments, right, in life that are just as profound that I might have missed, but I'm glad that I had that one.
Yeah. Well, you never know when when these moments come or when they on the road. But I do think just your heart and the way you are got you to even be able to experience that moment. Like, God kind of lays our steps based off our heart. So, you was able to some ways that God teaches about humanity is like you just got to experience it. You just got to
Mhm.
experience it. I know, kind of about like where I'm from and stuff, and I vouch for crazy ghetto places because I'm like, no, it's real hard there. It's like people without nothing, but they willing to share, they willing to make room, and it ain't no room. Like it's just like some of the things that um some people who we would perceive have nothing monetarily, they really rich. Like they really like really, really, really
Mhm.
rich. Like super rich. And then I've been surprised in places where I thought it was supposed to be all peaches and nice and bells and whistles and some wild stuff happen. I'd be like, I was not expecting this to happen here. It's supposed to be clean
Nope.
here, So God has a way of intimately teaching us these lessons, like for us to get it. For like that
Mhm.
wasn't for everybody. Like that was for God to teach you about people in that moment at that age and through that opportunity. And you know, I don't think you would have quite got it just being in Toledo and Akron and Ohio. Like that opportunity awarded you to see, real humanity. Not like where you not from is real humanity, but like you got to
Mhm.
see something different, something more like interesting, something that spoke
Yeah.
to your heart. So, and I'm happy you had that moment because, you know, I just appreciate your heart um, and it really shaped you in terms of that's how God will have us look at people, not to judge them based off what they have. Like it's really one of his principles. And I think he got that message to you early enough, knowing you was about to do more things, be around way more prominent, see different things, like so you wouldn't be jaded by what you pose to see versus like what you actually
Yeah.
experience. So,
Yeah. That's one of my favorite memories. All right, number 5. Number 5 is, when I am my true self, I am my best self. So, we have heard episodes on here, coaches and people have talked about self-love and be who you are and things like that, and I think that it's really easy to sometimes forget who you are in the sense that you're either trying to fit into a group or trying to be like other people or trying to be what you perceive the world, right, wants you to be or look like or do like or act like. So I've learned kind of a lot through other people, which is I think is so important, like with this show, right? I always tell people to listen to someone else's story, listen louder, because I think a lot of things about being true to who you are, I've actually learned from watching other people, not necessarily my own experiences.
hmm
Um, my mom and dad were great when I grew up building my self confidence and who I was and who I am, things like that. So that wasn't anything that I ever really struggled with. But I think I saw a lot of other people struggle with that and
hmm
question who they were or like, change who they were because they were with this person or, especially girls, like when she's dating him, she's this person. When she's dating him, she's a different person. So I think I learned that from watching other people and kind of seeing, you know, like I said, what I don't wanna do, but also,
yeah,
like, positive situations where I see where I do want to, you know, do the right thing. So I don't think that I've ever really stepped out of who I was and wasn't true to myself. Now, yeah, there were times where maybe I should have said something where I didn't because I didn't wanna make waves, or there are probably times where, I laughed off something that really bothered me, like, normal small things like that. But I've always been confident in, like, who Khalila is. I think I'm a really nice person and a really cool person, but I know there's a lot of power in that, and I've talked to people about that, and I've had people who have said to me, like, "I'm encouraged by your self-confidence and how you carry yourself and go through life." And it's honestly, like I said, it's just things that my mom and dad taught me or things that I've seen other people do or who have warned me about, like, make sure you do this and X, Y, and Z. And I've also been blessed to be around really good people who encourage me and speak positively into my life. So then they'll say, like, hey, you're really good at this. Like, keep it up, keep doing that. So it helps me kind of stay on the right track. So I guess with that, like being true to myself is not only just living out what's best for me, but also being that encouragement for others, which like I said, I like to help. So that's part of who I am and continuing that. And if I'm ever in a space that doesn't appreciate that or I'm asked to compromise who I am or something like that, I would be able to not do that because like I know who I am and I feel confident in that.
That's interesting. That's good, bro. I would, I'm probably your biggest advocate for you being your true self. I think the world needs a lot more of Khalila true self. I really
Oh,
love
you're
your
so nice.
spirit and the way you do life. And I know this is something that I have struggled with. Not in the sense like I definitely know my true self. So a lot of what I deal with now is shedding off my true self, really conforming fully to Christ.
Yeah, just like knowing, I guess by true self, I mean like knowing who you are, right? Knowing where your boundaries are, knowing what your non negotiables are, knowing what you believe in, knowing almost like your code of how you act and how you behave and who you present to others. And yeah, in different situations, you might have to act accordingly, right? But not to the point that person A is like, "Oh, I know Kalila." Person B is like, "Oh, that's not the Kalila I know." Like, I want
Oh no.
them both to know, like, this is who she is and this is where she stands. And, like, obviously, at work in a professional setting, those people might know me different than, like, my friend who sees me at home, right? I'm more relaxed and a little bit different in that way, but I'm still, at my core, who I am. It's not wishy-washy, it's not fake, it's not disingenuine. Was that the word? Is that a word?
Disingenuous. Like,
Disingenuous. There we go. Yeah. So, yeah, so just being your true self, and I think that can be hard for some people and depending on, their situation and stuff, and obviously no judgment, but I think that's a place where you want to be, where you want to get to, and, I just in my, previous episode, I had a lady who talked about, like, dating, right? Even in the dating world, like, if you don't know who you are, if you don't love yourself, like, how can you expect others to love you and treat you well if you don't treat yourself well, if you don't know what you want and stuff like that. So, I think that was a big thing, like, when we first started dating, I told you, I was like, "This is who I am." But not in, like, a weird way, but it was just like, I knew what I wanted. I knew like
and
I said,
probably
who I
likewise
was.
to a degree. Probably
Yeah,
likewise
I
to a
think we both
degree.
came into it, like, having a very confident view of who we were and what we believed and what we wanted moving forward. And it takes time to get there, I think. Some people get there earlier in life. Um, but yeah.
And on what we looking forward to too. Like, a lot of those early dialogues, like the way I see it is like this.
Mhm.
Like I see it is like this. All right,
Yeah.
I can see it like that. I can see it like that. Oh, I cannot see it like that. That is, so
Well, I think
that's
even with that, like, it's important to know that even in being your true self, like, you can evolve, right? You can grow and you can change and rewrite that story. So it's not like you're stuck and fixed in this one person. You're like, oh, this is who I was at 20. This is who I have to
yeah.
be because Kalila said I have to be my true self. Like, you should be growing and evolving and changing and learning different things as you go through different experiences and meet different people. So, and again, it's not like you're this 180, and it might be depending on where you started. I don't know your life. Like, depending on where you started, you might need a 180, but it might just be, different views that you had before. Now that you've had these experiences, maybe you aren't so close minded on certain things, or maybe, like I said, you're willing to try stuff. And
Yeah.
I think that can be hard for people, right? They talk a lot about people as they grow and change and develop, like old friends start to walk away because they're like, "Oh, we don't even know who you are anymore." But if you're truly making a positive growth or a positive change, then I mean, that's when you find out who your real friends are and who's for you, right? So, I think there's a
And
lot
then
that goes into that.
ultimately, and I think I maybe could speak for both of us. Like a lot of our true self is we just trying to, line that up with Christ. So it's like, we're gonna get different positions, we're gonna be in different places, we're gonna meet different people, but like how we treating people, whether it be kindness or,
Right,
you
that's
know,
not gonna change.
yeah, like that, that's what we don't want to not look like.
Mhm.
Not, that's what we don't want to be out here is being the anti fruit of the spirit. Like we
Right.
want to be, in line with how our Lord tell us to live, and that's why I say, that's why we could use more K spirit out here, I
So
believe you
kind.
impacted hundreds, if not thousands, of students already. You starting to get some of that reciprocal. I would say some of that gardening. You put in some work a long time ago, and getting some of the invites to the high school graduations and stuff. Being from a kindergarten teacher, like to have a impact like that, and a lot of that is like just how you ran the classroom, how you treated the children like little people, how you listened to them, like some things that I feel like I can be proud of and how you put your work in. Like it's fun watching you do your thing.
Mm. Well, your support goes into my next one, number 6. The family and friends that I choose are very important. And I put family and friends in there and put the word choice as in choose because typically you don't think of your family as a choice. Um, and it's not really, right? You get who you get. Um, but I think, especially at this stage in my life, like I'm 40 now, which is so weird to say. I can choose who I
The
get
one,
I get to choose who I spend the most of my time with. Like when you're a kid, you don't really get a choice. You have your mom and your dad, and obviously through this, I'm not advocating like dump your family or anything like that. But I do know, again, through this podcast and through people I've talked to, like not everybody has the supportive, healthy family. And sometimes you do have to separate from that so you can grow and just so you can live life pretty much depending on the situation that you are in. So I think it's important that just because they're your family, if they're treating you wrong or things aren't going well, doesn't mean like you have to stay in that horrible, bad situation. I've been blessed with a really great family. Like I said, my mom and my dad were really close. I talk to them pretty much every day, talk to them about anything and everything. I love that. Um, my siblings, we've had an interesting relationship. They're older than me. We're not as close as I would love us to be, but I think we're working on, certain things in our relationship there. But if it was, Lauren was evil, toxic person to me, then I wouldn't talk to her. I wouldn't spend that time with her. I would still love her and care for her, but I would have to separate myself. Luckily, she's not like that. So we can grow in our relationship as adults. And then I do have, I think my whole life, I've had some really good friends. And I have friends that I've been friends with since, elementary school who are still my friends today. And I've had friends that I met, as I say, for a season and a reason, right? Who are really close, who I thought I would be friends with for forever. That I've never had like a big fallout with friends or anything, like just kind of like a fade off, right? You just life gets busy and you kind of move away from them or they stop talking to you. But it's not, I haven't had like a big blowout fight or anything like that. But I think even in those relationships that I don't have anymore, I learned a lot and grew a lot and they supported me when I needed that. But like I said, I have friends who I know today, like I know who I could call right now and who would have my back if I needed something or if I needed to talk to. And I know that they would give me good advice, right? That's the big thing too. Like some people have someone who you can call, but do you really want to call that person? Um, and then I think those people who I know who I could count on, they also know that they could count on me too. And that just adds a little more peace to life when you have the right people around you. I know like when I was struggling back to teaching, like I had some really tough years where, I had a coworker who was really mean to me or I had, a situation where I was like, is this what I'm supposed to do? Am I a good teacher? And it was, my friends who really spoke life into me and were like, hey, like you are on the right path. You're doing the right thing. It's just tough right now. Like don't give up. Don't give in. So, um, like I said, I could have if you have the wrong people around you, they're gonna say the wrong things, or if you have people who aren't really there for you, right? You get into jealousy and things like that, and they start to speak down on you. So I've never had situations like that with, like I said, with people who I chose to continue my life with, right? I've had people who have been mean to me and who seemed like they were friends at first, I guess I should say, who seemed like they
Mhm.
could be, but I never actually got to the point of calling them friends because you can tell pretty early on who is, interested in being a part of your life in that way. So I think it's important, but I could have chosen that person, right? I could have decided like, "Hey, she's so cool though. I really want to be friends with her. I really want to hang out with her," or like the benefits of being around her or something like that, right? And I could have decided like, "Oh yeah, she is a friend." But I think it's important to choose who you allow yourself to spend the most time with, who you allow to speak into your life, and who you allow to influence you,
Yeah,
family and friends.
I agree. And I've seen, I get to watch you up close. So, and I like it. I like it. I feel like it's in line with how God wants you to live. And I don't think it's, allowing you to neglect any of your professional duties or anything like that. But I've seen, and a lot of it is, and I'm surprised we've gotten this far without mentioning our main character in our life. But,
Miles.
since the introduction of the little dude, man, he is, I think for both of us, helped really reprioritize everything. Like, along with Corona. So
Everything.
it was this combo of thunder and lightning, Corona and Miles McCoy.
Boom.
Um and I like to think we came, through that storm, through all storm and bring rain and this growth after that. And I like where we are more so after, Corona and getting our star player, our little dude. But
Mhm.
it's been fun to see you even become a mom. You wasn't a mom for the first half of our relationship, and then now you are, and it's it's amazing to watch. Like, I think you do
I'm
well.
tired all the time.
Hey, hey, your husband was too. I'm gonna say was. I'm expecting rest this upcoming season, and some better things in that regard. But I like where you settle in upon in terms of those choices and selections in terms of friends and family. So, um,
Yeah, and I hope, hopefully, right? All of these things that I'm sharing will help me be a better mom and can instill some of these lessons into Miles because we are quote unquote older parents. So I do get to share some of this with not Miles and not necessarily even share it with him, but just hopefully live it out because I do feel like a lot of what I experienced wasn't just the conversations, right? It was more watching. It was seeing, like I said, seeing the little kid be excited about sharing his life with us or seeing people and talking with people helps a lot, but it's really that action that I
mm,
noticed the most. All right,
well,
we are off to number 7. This is my final one. This is probably my favorite one. And it kind of goes along with everything about my personality and who I am and this podcast as well. But my last one is give your advantage away. So I guess this is more advice, but this is something that I've learned to give my advantage away. And so there's a story that goes with this.
this is
Everything has a
interesting. This is an
story.
interesting. This is an interesting. Interesting. Go ahead.
So, okay, so it comes from a place of I so and I have to say, I have a disclaimer. So in a previous episode, I had said that we talked about people pleasing, right? And I was like, oh, I kind of fall into people pleasing sometime. And I was talking to my mom and my dad about that episode. My mom's like, you're not really a people pleaser. And we were talking about all the reasons why I wasn't a people pleaser. And she's like, you just, you don't allow certain things to bother you. And you really like, again, to help people and you care about their needs and things like that, but you don't like put yourself down to raise somebody up type of thing. And so that's kind of where this comes in because my whole life, like, I feel like, not to toot my own horn, but I'm a pretty nice person, a genuinely caring person, and I do want to see other people win. I do wanna see other people rise. I do wanna see other people do well. So there's certain things like people are people, right? Like, I'm pretty good at noticing, like, okay, this is just who so and so is. This is how they act, and this is how I move around them. Like, again, still my true self, but understanding that this is how I deal with this person and this is how they deal with life. And I've had a lot of times where people have been like, why do you spend time with that person? Or why do you let this person act that way? Or doesn't that make you angry? Or doesn't that make you mad? Or even when we first started dating, right? You would just be like, why do you let people walk all over you? Or why do you do this? And why do you do that? And
Don't be putting me out there like that.
but I really
It
struggled
can
with
be
that
sound
because
crazy.
I didn't see it that way. I just saw it as me caring for I never felt that someone was getting over on me, right? In that sense, I never was angry about certain things because certain things just didn't bother me, or I was okay with giving up of myself in that moment for that person to have that joy or whatever they needed, right? Um, but it didn't take away anything from me. And it's see, even now, like it's hard to explain exactly what I mean by that. But
I'll get it.
yeah, so but people would always question it and be like, "How do you do that? Why are you doing this? Like, be tougher, be more assertive, blah, blah, blah." And I would try to, and then I would feel like crap because I'm like, "I don't like acting this way. That's
This
not
ain't
who
my
I am."
style.
Like,
This
I
ain't
would
my
feel mean. I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And obviously, as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little bit more certain. I've done different things and had to grow in certain ways,
She'll
but
become a mom.
overall, oh yeah, don't mess with my baby. But overall, I think I'm still that person, right? But it was still a lot of that questioning. So again, this happened when I was young, and I don't remember. My dad used to listen to the radio a lot when we were kids, like driving in the car, and he was listening to like the sports. They were interviewing a coach, and I don't know who the coach was, and I can't find it. I've tried to look for it, but the coach was talking about how he would get, like, a lot of players from either overseas or inner city, schools or something like that, and he would really set that kid up for success, and he would really, like, teach them all the things they need to know, get them food, get them in a situation where they needed to be, and then they would be successful and their full talent could come out. And then he would that kid would leave and go to, like, a better school or a better team or, whatever. And the interviewer asked the coach, like, "How do you feel about that? Like, you're doing all this for these people. They're taking advantage of you. Like, how do you feel about that?" And I'll never forget the coach. And then I say I never forget, but I don't remember the exact wording. But the coach looked at him and he said, "They can't take advantage of me because
Hey,
I'm giving the advantage away."
mm,
And that, like, even as a kid, I remember like that stayed with me so strong. And I was like, that is me. Like, and that is who I want to be. Like,
mm,
I am not giving to people from this sense of like loss or struggle, right?
mm,
I am fully me and I am giving from a place of abundance. I want you to succeed. I want you to grow. I want you to be your best self. So that is why I do the things I do. So you can't take anything from me because I'm giving it freely to you. And that just made me so happy, like, having that moment. I was like, "Yes, somebody who gets me," like, and that is something that I always, want to be. And, I'm not wealthier by any means, but if I can give somebody money to help them, I would love to. If I can just be kind or just, sometimes just a smile. Like, I can't tell you, like, going to Walmart and telling some strange lady that I like her hair, like, the way they light up is like, "What? Like,
mm,
no one's ever complimented you before?" It's just little stuff like that, or, if I do have to take a back seat so you can move forward, like, my back seat still gets me where I need to go, right? So it doesn't bother me. Um so yeah, just that idea of giving your advantage away. I think we all have something, right, that we can give, that we can do to help others to succeed, to help them rise, as we like to say in this podcast. And I think that is really where this comes from. Like the stories that we tell, the life that we live, we all have something that somebody out there needs to hear, to see, to believe in, and we all have an advantage that we can give away, so we should do that and do it freely and with joy. So, that's my 7th one, give your advantage away.
Great way to end. I have a bunch of thoughts, but I still don't even know my role in this episode. I think like he just wanted me up here so she can feel comfortable to, talk about some of these I would say some personal things she given to y'all, man. I done watched her do some of these things. And listening to your number 7, I also too was kind of put into people like to try to put me into this people pleasing thing. But it's like, I don't know. It's just interesting that I feel like we have this another little thing that we have in common. Is just actually a way of life that we do. If we find out about an advantage or saving money, like we're gonna tell you. We're gonna like if
Mhm.
there's a better way and you and our spirit influence, like we're gonna share that with you. Like there's we don't do no little weird gatekeeping or I don't know. So it was fun hearing you encourage other people to give your advantage away and because and you never know how that shows up, whether that be
Yeah, that's true.
like shout out to the ladies that thing that y'all did. They was giving their advantages away. They was telling us what was helping them in their marriages and how they got to where they
Mhm.
got. Best believe it was not as fun to get to them conclusions as it was for them to just be able to kind of spell it out. But a lot of it is helping the youth catch up. That's a lot of what Real McCoy
Yeah.
TV is like. You don't have to jump over them same hurdles or even be curious about them or even be nervous about them. Here go the answers. Now make your choice. Like, here, this is what this route gonna do this, what this route gonna do this. Really, choose your choice, so um, but yeah, I'm a huge fan of you, babe. So I like how
Oh,
you
thank
do
you.
things. I had a little more, but let's go. I still, like I said, y'all, I don't know what my role in this. She just had me in between her questions here
I'm
and there.
just sharing with you as I share with them my 7 things.
But yeah, and then also like even all I would also say, look at your advantage and not to get gloomy. But look at your advantage of something like maybe even a hardship. So I grew up in a crazier, tougher area where, people didn't talk nice or different things. So like sometimes I was just accustomed to how people talk, like accustomed to mean people. You learn how to move around that. You learn how to deal with, a little bit more challenging people. And then you can use that to help people. Likewise, when I
Right.
get um, the Lord favors me a lot. Sometimes I'm not the head leader, but I'm usually favored somewhere close to top command, second or third. I can then teach the other people around how I got here. You can do these things too and get the same type of respect and get the same type of results. It's not a mystery. Do these things. This will work. This will don't work. I don't know, but that's just kind of how we McCoys like to do life. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
just looking out for other people. Imagine a world where we all just helped each other.
And not giving off of what you said. I like that giving um based off of a loss and struggle or something like that. I forgot exactly how you worded it.
Oh, like, it's not like you're empty. You're giving from a place of abundance
Yeah, you're not giving to, and
to
this was
gain something for
for the people
yourself
that's in
or
sports. Yeah, I've been blessed enough to have people who was over me who did nothing but pour into me. Thank God that he chose that history for me. But some of us come against adversity where there's some envy from somebody older than you and making hardships and different things. So, when you get these different positions and places, like when you sharing with people, let it be for nothing in return other than it's just the right thing to do. It's just the
Mhm.
right thing to do.
Perfect. Okay, well, do you have a final question for me that all guests get asked on this podcast?
Now now that we've heard from
Well,
you,
you
what
can't
is
say
it
it while
that
you're laughing.
you, you should have just winked or something?
Well,
Now
we're just
that
sitting here silence for like 2 minutes.
I told you I didn't. All right, listen. Now that we've heard from you, What is it that you want the listeners to take away that can help them rise in their own lives?
Hmm. Thank you for asking that question. So I wrote down what I wanted to say. So this was actually a hard question. I asked all my guests this. So thank you to my guests for answering this because I had to really think about it because I shared, 7 things. So I wrote down what I wanted to say. And I think my overall takeaway that I want people to have to help them rise is the things that I shared today aren't groundbreaking. You've probably heard them or lived them or learned them in your own way, but these lessons have shaped who I am and who I'm becoming. And my hope is that you take a moment to think about who you truly are and who you truly want to be. And it doesn't matter if you're 22 or you're 92. Like you said, we're all growing and evolving and changing. So you can always take a moment to reflect and look at your experiences, the good, the hard, the unexpected, and let them help push you towards becoming someone that you're proud of and someone who is always rising and pulling up others so they can rise as well.
That was great, man. And look, y'all, if y'all listen, if y'all reflect on these 7 things, you will rise for real. These were 7 good things, baby. Good work. Good work.
Thanks. And thank you for talking with me today.
Oh, you know that. I got you. Got you till we gone, baby.
All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I had fun sharing a little bit more about who I am and what makes me tick. Again, I want to encourage you to reflect on your own life as well. Take some time and make your list. If you were to do an episode like this, what would you say? What are 7 things that have shaped who you are today? And what are the stories or experiences that align with that? And who knows, maybe you're able to actually get 10 or 40 or however old you are. Can you make a list of those things? And you know me, I love to hear what you come up with. There are several ways that you could share with me. Send me an email at wherewerisepod, all one word, at gmail.com. You can leave a message on our YouTube community page where everyone can learn from you. Or you can DM me on Instagram at wherewerisepod. I can't wait to learn more about you. And if you're not comfortable sharing your story yet, I'd still love to hear from you. Feel free to give some feedback on this episode or any episodes you've listened to. Drop me a line in one of the ways I mentioned, or I would really appreciate it if you would take the time to rate the show. Most of you are Apple Podcast listeners. So if you scroll to the bottom of this podcast page, you can give up to a 5-star rating and leave a review. It would mean a lot to me to have you support the show in this way. Okay, that's all from me for now. I look forward to spending time with you again next week. But until then, as you move through the rest of your day, I hope you take a moment to listen a little louder to yourself, to the people you love, and to the things that connect us in ways we sometimes forget to notice. I'll meet you back here next time. See ya, bye.